The purpose of this video is to explain the sheet studio experiments. So you have now finished boot camp and you are ready to start experimenting with some of the art materials. What you need to do first is you should have this piece of paper. You need to write your first name, last name, period number. I'm just pretending I'm period 9, and your class number, and I'm pretending that I'm number 40 because it doesn't exist. Now, before you go on, you should do the same thing on the back of your paper. Write your first name, last name, period number, and your class number, and go ahead and circle your class number. Now, this is where it starts to get fun in art class because you now get to experiment with all these different what I'm calling studios. So you'll notice there's level 1, 2, and 3. And depending on how your class does, we might add more studios and even more levels. But it's important to note that you must do all of the level 1s before you can get access to any of the level 2s. So, for example, we have draw with pencils. You will need to get you will need to do 3 different things and get a signature from me in order to move on to the next level, to paint, and then in order to move on to cutting and carving. And when you've done all 3 of these, then you can do any of the level 2s that you would like. But you cannot do any of the level 2s until you've completed all of the level 1s. And for this first semester, we are going to go in order. Some people might finish with pencils, and as soon as they are, we'll open up paint. But you need to finish with pencils in order to get access to paint, and you need to finish with paint in order to get access to the collage and the paper. So what you're going to do is you are going to go to Peyton Pick and Paw. You're going to go to YouTube, and you're going to type in Peyton Pick and Paw. And I've probably already shown you this, but just in case, you're going to click on the picture, and you're going to go to the playlist. Now, on the playlist, your first playlist that you are going to go to should be called Draw. And when you go to Draw, there should be your first video that says Create Pencils, Create with Video. I'm going to be telling you some things that you need to do in order to create with the video, and you're going to do that. You can skip around a little bit. For example, you can go to the grid method if you're waiting for something in order to be able to create with the video. But basically, you're going to do these things when you have all of these 3 things done, and each video will show you what Create with Video means, what Create New Discoveries means, and what it means to demonstrate the grid method. Then you will come get a signature from me. Your goal is to get as many signatures as possible because we're going to spend a couple of weeks in this studio experiment phase. Then it will be time to decide what is your art project going to be. And you will only be able to create with any of the materials that you have been cleared for. So if you have a signature for draw and a signature for paint, what your project could be just drawing, just painting, or a combination of drawing and painting. If you have a signature for level 1 draw, level 1 paint, level 1 cut and carve, and you also got a signature for prints, and you really love prints because that was a level 2, you can do a print for your project. You're going to decide what your project is. I'm going to give you a theme to think about, but that's it. So during the studio experiments, it is very important that you remember everything that you learned from boot camp. Show me that you know that so we don't have to go back to those learning guides. And also take your time, but get cleared for as many studios as you can so that when the project comes, you will be able to use as many supplies as you can. If for some reason you don't get cleared for any studios, you can always use these supplies. There's nothing wrong with these supplies. We have general markers. We have some general color pencils or pencils. But what I want you to be able to do is to be able to use the fancy art supplies.